What's up, guys? Does want to go over depression tonight? It's a tough subject, and but I wanted to talk about it because it's fairly common. Sad to say, and I've run across it with my own athletes, my own members. It actually runs in my family to a certain extent, and I had actually had a small bout of it myself at one point, and I'll tell you guys about that in a minute. Uh, First, I want to point out that if if you have depression and you're suffering bad, it's not looking good. Take antidepressants. If you haven't tried them, try them. They do work for a lot of people for technical reasons. And if and don't be stubborn. If your society gives you a gift that works, try it. Doesn't matter what your presuppositions are, your beliefs, because if you're gone, we can't help you. And that's the other thing. There's definitely you definitely have people in your corner you don't know about that want to help you. So at least give them a chance. uh, so on the most practical note, start with medications if you're in trouble, and then there are there are practical fixes you can take that I've seen work almost like magic. A lot of people are depressed not just due to genetics, not because they were doomed to be depressed, but because their life is in chaos. They're suffering badly. Everything is out of order. Everything has blown up. So, first thing you need to address is, do you have a job? This is crucial. Biologically, this is crucial. This is something that's known. Uh, Without a job, we don't have a purpose, and we're nothing without a purpose. Okay, if you're floating around aimless, first problem you have to solve is how you're going to find some meaning, how you're going to find a purpose. Easiest, most practical way is just get a job, get any job. Okay. One thing that'll do that's very powerful is it'll get you on a schedule. Schedules are crucial to fighting depression. If you don't have a job, you're waking up anytime you want. Your circadian rhythms are jacked. This increases severity of depression. Uh, so more on practical solutions. Fitness is right at the top. Okay, and you gotta think about fitness on a full spectrum, on a full scale, not just uh, not just working on it, not bro flexing, get increasing your vascularity, staring at yourself in the mirror, trying to improve your vanity. Uh, Fitness is how balanced is your equilibrium, how healthy is your endocrine system, uh, how healthy are your organs, uh, how healthy is your metabolism altogether on a global scale. If if these things are being destroyed by junk food and drugs, you're going to be depressed. Okay, so uh, I've seen this firsthand. I've trained individuals who joined my gym, and they didn't tell me at first, but later on, 3 months, 6 months later, and the stories were almost identical. They come up to me and they're whispering, they're like, you know what, I didn't want to tell you at first, but I stopped taking my medications. And I was a little worried about that. I was like, should you stop taking medications? What are we talking about here? And they're like, well, I never feel depressed anymore. I don't feel the need to take it. I haven't taken it for a month.
Well, the doctor okays it too.
And I feel great. And Lydia said I should put a disclaimer in there that the doctor okays it, by the way. Because everybody runs it by their doctor first. But that's happened on many occasions. And to the point where when they come up and tell me now, it doesn't surprise me at all. First time it blew my mind. I thought that was amazing. And I ran into this myself. When I got, let's see, what timeline was this? It was after my freshman year in college. I had played 1 year of football, and then I was out, and I was in the Army, and I was kind of in limbo. I was waiting to go to Germany, and and I didn't have sports. I wasn't in school. I wasn't in college anymore. My routine was thrown upside down, like I was talking about earlier. I had a steakhouse job. It wasn't much. Paid like $7.25 an hour, and nothing to keep me in check. And I just, if the guys wanted to party, I would party, and the drinking got out of control, and that's pretty much all I was doing, working at a steakhouse and partying, drinking, and before I knew it, I was severely depressed. I wasn't on the path that I was used to being on. You know, I was a scholar athlete. I got good grades, and I did well in sports, and you know, got accepted into college and played college sports, and all that was gone all of a sudden. And it got bad, and my thoughts got pretty dark. Okay, I started wondering about the purpose of everything, and you know where those thoughts go. And this wasn't long after I lost my brother either. I lost my brother in high school, so that was still weighing pretty heavy on me. It's a very fresh wound there, and so it got pretty bad to the point where I actually checked myself into a clinic. I needed to figure out what was going on with me, because this was not. I couldn't keep going in this direction, and the counselor was right on it. Started going over the practical checklist, to-do list. He's like, "Well, are you working out?" Like, yeah, I still train. I still work out a lot, even hungover. And then after a few questions, one of the questions was, "Are you drinking?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "How much?" Well, depends on the week. We might start on Wednesday or Thursday, and then pretty much go all weekend. And he goes, "Well, that's where you're going to have to start. You're going to have to cut way back on that, with the idea of trying to stop completely until the depression clears." And I was young and stupid, and I was still skeptical. I didn't think that was it. I was like, we drink to have fun and party it up. That's the only thing I look forward to at this moment. I don't have football practice, wrestling practice. I'm not in school. The only thing I go to is the steakhouse. I was like, now you want to take that away from me? And it was a battle for me to drop it. Uh, but I did. I did drop it. I won that battle. And like magic, my depression cleared. As the drinking slowed down, the depression de-escalated. You know, and also it's no coincidence that I never stopped training either. So my fitness was aiding in the process too. And that's not a mystical thing. Okay, that's a very biological thing. Is we know training for various reasons is dopaminergic. That means it increases the feel good hormones. And anybody that's ever cashed in a tough workout knows this. You get done during it, you hate it. It's like love-hate relationship. But when it's over, you're high-fiving, you're smiling, you're laughing. It's for a reason. It's not because thank God that's over. That's not the only reason. It's because you actually have dopamine and serotonin increasing in your system. Okay, and that's for various reasons. Okay, the biggest reason is, see if I can articulate this clearly enough. The biggest reason is most 99% of our positive emotions do not come from the attainment of something. Most of our positive emotions come from seeing that the things we're doing as we pursue a meaningful goal is working. Okay? In other words, the important thing is the journey. That old cliche. And you know this because you graduated high school and you're, after the graduation party was over, you're like, well, now what? Excitement's gone. Positive emotions are gone. Now you got to face life. Again, it's still there. Okay? You finish your PhD, turn in your dissertation, positive emotion ends immediately. And what happens often is depression sets in. Because now that big, important, meaningful goal is no longer guiding you anymore. That's important. You have to immediately set a meaningful goal. And if you don't have one, if you're wandering around, no job, okay, no relationships, no career, no education, no hobbies, these things you got to put in place because each one of these things has goals. And whenever you step forward, whenever you make progress in any of them, and it can be small, and this is something to remember that's very important. It can be a real tiny improvement, and it's therapeutic. Okay, you can do something small that pushes you forward. For example, and I'm not kidding with this. Like this morning, I woke up and made my coffee and debated for a while whether I was going to wash the dishes or not. Like, I'm too tired. I can't even see the dishes right now. And I decided to go ahead and wash the dishes while I was waiting on my coffee. And as soon as I was done, I felt great. And that's no coincidence. That is a dopamine spike, serotonin spike. Because you're not happy that the dishes are over with. That's not it. It's you're one step closer to getting your house in order, which is directly related to getting your life in order. Okay? There's very little separation between the order of your environment and the order of your life. The degrees of separation are almost none. So don't underestimate the power of cleaning your house for therapy. And you hear that a lot.
You need to do that more often, please.
It comes from unfortunately, I guess it comes from women more often than men. Uh, but they're onto something there. It's not it's not unscientific. It's actually proven. It's a thing. Jackie Moore, it's because you accomplished something you needed to do. Right. And needed is the important word there. Needed means you've attached meaning to it. You said this is meaningful. And once you do that and you chase down a meaningful goal, then your reward. And that's what our evolution, that's what our ancestors have passed on to us. Our reward for doing something that you have to sacrifice now, that will give us something in the future. The reward you get now is the dopaminergic response, those feel goods. And so you got to be now that you know about it, pay attention to it, because it's definitely a thing. And you can retrain habits this way. You can look for it now that you know it's there, and it's not oh, I'm happy I did that because it's over with. I'm happy I did that because it's moving me closer to the ideal. It's moving me closer to the goal. And what's the ultimate goal? What's the ultimate ideal? Is to be what? It's to be the best that we can. Okay? To give back, to make this world better in any way that you affect it. Okay? Because you will affect it whether you do anything or nothing. It's like your presence will not go undetected. So you might as well make sure that you affect the world in the most positive way imaginable. Kyle Preston. I remember my reward for trying to whistle while having my chest twisted. That must be an old wrestling story you're bringing up. So, and that's in wrestling, same thing. When you're doing sports, you think it's just for the bragging rights, just for the win, the victory. But it goes deeper than that. It's definitely connected to what we're talking about tonight. If you're in competitions and you're challenged to push yourself, to work with others, especially teamwork, you're developing yourself and becoming a stronger individual, which increases your viability over a longer timeline, as opposed to the other end of the spectrum where you're too depressed to get out of bed and you don't participate in anything. Okay, your viability decreases, and you know this whether you're thinking about it or not. You're like, I'm not going to last very long if I keep up this pattern. So how do you break the pattern? It's not as hard as it seems. Like I said earlier, it can be as simple as washing your dishes, cleaning up your room. If you're paying attention, you'll discover that the feel good you get from that can be the same as any drug or any junk food or any other escape that you use. Jackie Moore. It was a brotherhood. Yes, it was, Kyle. Good times. Jackie Moore, Dane, my daughter wants to meet up with you. Have you designed her a workout routine to help her become the best wrestler she can be? I would love to do that. I am still very passionate about wrestling, and I've coached wrestling in middle school, high school, and college. And I've actually talked about the local CrossFit gym here to adding a youth wrestling program to their gym. Wrestling is is hands down one of the best sports out there. It's a it's a the epitome of character building. It's too sad it's not more popular. Jackie, get a hold of me, message me, or I'll message you, and we can do that. I have really good remote coaching software. You can send me videos, and anybody can do this. You can send me videos, and I can annotate technique, form, and I can I use a software where I can draw, I can sketch on it, I can point out exactly what needs to be fixed, and I can send those back to you. She was 12 and started when she was 4. Oh wow, she's gonna be a beast. 4 is about as early as you can start. That's good. And the other cool thing is female wrestling is growing. It's actually on the rise, which is remarkable considering wrestling as a whole is kind of in trouble. Thanks, Kyle. It is. It is the. You could argue that wrestling is the foundation of self-defense because it teaches crucial positioning and body awareness in order to keep yourself safe and keep your opponent in danger. As far as mixed martial arts goes, statistically the most successful are the ones who started out wrestling. So as far as self-defense, on that note, if you want to learn self-defense, the 3 skills you need are wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and kickboxing, some type of striking, Muay Thai. And about in that order. It's hard to argue. If you're a grown adult, you probably want to learn jiu-jitsu first. But if you're a child, you should probably just start with wrestling, get that foundation started. Yeah, jiu-jitsu is great. I've taught self-defense classes in my gyms. The women love it. I think they like to go home and choke out their husbands after I teach them how. Jiu-jitsu is great because it can teach the smaller person how to defeat the bigger person. And it's much more statistically successful than striking technique for the smaller person. If you're a smaller person, your chances of winning a striking contest are drastically smaller than jiu-jitsu. So if you want self-defense and you're a smaller person, go with jiu-jitsu first. So, I think we got a lot of good information out there on how to deal with depression. It can strike anybody because it doesn't have to be genetic, and it strikes those when it's not genetic who are suffering and who have a lot of chaos to deal with. Lost their job, got divorced, no hobbies, can't manage to get out of bed, can't manage to get in the gym. All these things seem insignificant when you're depressed. So what you have to do is do it on faith. Force yourself to do these things. Seriously, go out. Don't go to the bar. Go out, run into some people. Try a new hobby where you can run into other people, socialize. The worst thing you can do is stay in bed. Postpartum depression. I don't know a whole lot about postpartum depression. I'm not going to try to touch on that one. Just would would not change my advice on the different types of depression. Lots of veterans also retired military. Yeah, and Jackie, that's actually good thing you brought that up. It's actually one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this. I'm an Army war veteran, and I'm very aware of the situation. The last statistic I heard is we're losing 22 a day. We're losing more soldiers to suicide than we are to war. And the I don't want to ever sound like I have the magical solution, but the biggest reason that I can tell is soldiers have a mission. It's one of the big reasons, besides what they actually see at war and come back with PTSD. But when you're in the Army and you're at war, you have a mission, you have a purpose. And then one of the worst things imaginable happens to a lot of soldiers. They get cut loose. In almost like a dispensable way. It's like, see ya, good luck, go find a job, do whatever you gotta do, but you're not with us anymore. You're flapping in the wind. And there's organizations that try to help with that now. Don't know how effective they are. Nobody's ever cared whether I was a veteran or not. I got rejected from, I think, 2 or 3 police stations with the biggest resume of anybody there. I was a military police sergeant with wartime experience and garrison experience. I was the fittest person there by far. Smashed the push-up and sit-up test. Did pretty good on the run. I had extensive combat skills, expert marksman, self-defense skills with MMA and wrestling. And they didn't care. All they cared was about their process. You got to pass their written exam, and then you do the fitness test, and then they do a cumulative score, and whoever has the best score in the top whatever percentage they need to fill the ranks goes. Okay, so if somebody with no experience, no resume like mine, tested 1 point higher on the written exam, they're in. I'm out. So that's a real thing for veterans and for anybody is trying to find a purpose, trying to find a mission, and you need to. We are no good as human beings without a mission, without a purpose. That's priority number 1. If you're suffering, if things aren't going well for you, and you don't have a job, or you find your job meaningless, then you gotta do something about it. You gotta switch that up. Jackie Moore, I'm thankful my husband found a good job currently with the railroad. Is your husband a veteran? Did I miss that? So hopefully you took something away from that talk and have some ammunition in your back pocket now. Maybe you can help somebody, or if you need help, maybe that gave you a little bit, some good ideas. Yeah, soldiers who get out, who get close to retirement, that's a serious thing to worry about. and it can hit the strongest. It doesn't have anything to do with toughness, virtue, ethics. It's a diabolical mental battlefield that can ambush any of us. So we need definitely need to help each other with that. Oh, you're both vets. Cool. Awesome. Excuse me. All right, I think that's probably a good place to stop. If you guys have any questions, and feel free to switch the subject if you had something you were working on as far as fitness goes. If you needed some clarity on something that we talked about before, throw those questions out there. And a reminder, if you need coaching, go to my website, fill out one of the forms. I'll get back to you right away, and we can set up your program. Jackie, go ahead and hit me up on there. Send me a direct message. Very excited about working with your daughter. We got any more questions from the pool over there? All right. You guys have a wonderful Monday evening. I'm working on trying to heal my abs from having babies. I have a 2-inch gap. If you have any advice, I would appreciate it too. The 2-inch gap is very tough to deal with. It's a long, slow battle. Nothing really changes. You still have to do the core movements that you can do, and the ones that are going to be tough, that are anything that require a sit-up motion. And if those are too painful, too difficult, then you can do static holds like planks, and you can do smaller range of motion like crunches, or leg lifts. But I would definitely push you to keep working on it, because it will get better. It takes a while. One of the things you could investigate is getting it stitched back up. See if you can get that gap closed. That will help. That will anatomically, your physics will operate better if you get that stitched up. Brian Treft, how do I get my boy to be more aggressive on the mat? I don't know how to teach that. Well, aggression, as far as an emotion goes, is pretty innate. It's very hard to teach aggression, but you can teach him tactical skills that look like aggression. Okay? So I wouldn't go the route of trying to change his personality or his temperament. That takes way too long, and you'll probably fail anyways. So teach him tactical skills, teach him timings. Okay? So one thing you can work with him on, it's a very simple strategy that I did till the end of my wrestling career, is I was going to initiate a takedown shortly after the whistle, as soon as I could. I didn't run at him like a barbarian with no plan, okay, and try to just bowl him off the mat. I would typically set up a low single or a fireman's carry. I'd go for the left wrist control, and I would tug on the back of his head, get him to look down at the mat, and at the same time I'd shoot in for the fireman's or the single leg, which doesn't take any anger or any type of temperament to do that. That's just a strategy. It's like, okay, this is what I want you to do as soon as you possibly can. Try to hit this within the first 10 seconds of the match. Okay, and then it's on. Once he initiates contact like that, now he's just going to have to go. So aggression shouldn't be a problem after that. Another thing is, as far as something that looks like aggression, but you don't need any anger. You don't need to be a monster to do it. Is speed. Okay, when I was coaching wrestling, I always told them to be explosive. You do everything with an explosion, with speed. You get the movement done as fast as you can. If you're going to stand up, you pop up. You don't crawl up to your feet. Pop up. Okay? If you're going to pull on somebody's wrist, you yank on it like you're trying to pull the arm out of the socket. Everything you have to do has to be done within a split second in wrestling. Okay? Very explosive. So teach him to do snappy movements. Okay? And then he'll look as if he's just mean and nasty and aggressive when he starts moving like that. Okay, so train him on speed and train him on tactics. Have a strategy for each match. A lot is physiological, says Kyle. That's true. Some athletes are faster than others naturally. That doesn't mean you can't train an athlete to be faster. And what's his name on The Matrix? He's like, a lot of wrestling is very cool and jiu-jitsu is very cool because it doesn't have everything to do with speed, but more with timing. Like my setup for the fireman's carry wasn't really dependent on speed. It was dependent on the wrist control and where I got the wrestler to look. Once he broke visual contact with me, it was done. So tug on his head, looks down, he was done. I was gonna get in and finish that. That seems like that's his issue. He waits for his opponent to make a move every time. He doesn't really get going until they get the best of him. By then it's too late. Yeah, that's the tendency for. I've seen that style a lot. What was the name? Lieben in MMA was like that. He had to get punched in the face before you could see the best of him. And then he'd just go out there and clock people with his left hook and win. But unfortunately, he'd have to get beat in the face for a while before he'd do it. So just get him to think about that and visualize it and sleep on it. When it becomes something ingrained in his mind, now you have it in his nervous system. Your body will act out what you've planted in the nervous system, but it's got to be planted first. Wrestling is just much about mental ability as it is physical. Absolutely. Confidence is a lot. Yep. It's one thing I think about quite often is how inseparable the mind and the body is. For example, what hurts the body will hurt the mind. Junk food will break down the body and the mind. Strength training will strengthen the body and the mind. So if your mind is weak, there's a lot of things you can do to strengthen the mind that don't appear to be mind builders. Okay, it can be something very physical that's actually mental training. For example, in training, we do Metcons. They can be 3 rounds, 5 rounds, and then be burpees, clean and jerks, and pull-ups, doing infinite number. And you get done with 3 rounds and you're cashed. You're done. Like in wrestling too. It's like you get done with that second round and you're done. Your body is calling it quits. So the last round of your Metcon or wrestling is now mental training. Okay, and that's what I tell myself, and that's what I tell my athletes. It's like, okay, I know your body doesn't want anymore, but this last round is crucial for your mind. This is mental training. We have to do this last round for your mind. Because a lot of people will bitch and moan about overtraining. Oh, we don't need that last round. That's too much. It's going to break you down. Your body will bounce back. It's a lot tougher than you can imagine. And I've lived it personally. You should see what my body's bounced back from. And I've seen it over and over. So do not shy away. Do not shy away from moments like that to strengthen the mind. Jump right in. Like the old adage, piece of advice. Go in the direction of your fears. Yeah, I'd love to throw down with you again, Kyle. People can't take the intensity, and you helped develop that in me. Cool. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate that. Glad I was able to do that. So, I think that might be a good place to stop. If you guys have questions, if you need any type of training, as you found out tonight, I'm experienced in multiple sports, different types of strength and conditioning and fitness, and I've helped all ages, all people from different walks. So don't be afraid to ask me for help if you need any kind. And check out my website at trainedbydane.com if you need more information or need to contact me. Am I still in Ohio? I am in Cookeville, Tennessee. I do come up to Ohio occasionally. My dad still lives there, so I drop in on Finley once in a while. But that still doesn't have to stop us from working together. If you need coaching, the way I do it, it's pretty much almost the same as if I'm there, because we can do video analysis, and I have software where I deliver the training programs, and with those training programs, every workout has coach's notes, so you know exactly how to execute the workout and get the correct stimulus. So if I'm not in your area, I can still be pretty effective with the coaching. What's up, Brandon? How you doing? Good to see you. Hi, Danae. That's it for this one. If you guys, people keep popping in and out. If you are wondering about anything, please hit me up, and gives me good ideas on how I can help you guys. I want to make sure you guys are getting the most out of your training, out of your fitness and nutrition. So don't be shy. Oh yeah, cool. I'd love to see videos of her wrestling and her strength and conditioning if she's doing any at the moment. If she's not doing any strength and conditioning, I would highly recommend it. It's only going to up her game, make her more of a monster. If you would like for me to look at her, I'm sure she has adequate coaching, but if you would like me to look at her wrestling and you want feedback on that, I could do that also. All right, guys. I will see you on Wednesday.